The gates. Stand by for a start. There they go. They're racing. Glamour Pact and Kit Gum were the first of them to jump. Also away well. What about Moses? No one keen to lead, so Wacken Tanker is going to stream over and go up with Kit Gum. Wacken Tanker might eventually actually cross. Wacken Tanker 3/4 Kit Gum, who hands up, and now Wacken Tanker is able to cruise to the top. Glamour Pact is over on the inside of Distant Trilogy, followed by What About Moses, Trade Talk, She's Got Merit. Further back behind them, Island Missile, Miss Flamboyant, Zachariah Bow, and back a clear last is Mal Arab. They come along to the 850. Wacken Tanker was able to work across from his wide gate and do it effortlessly. He's fired up though in front by a length and a half. Distant Trilogy, a similar gap to Kit Gum. They start to put a bit more pace on now. On the fence, Glamour Pact 1.5 away. What About Moses, Trade Talk, She's Got Merit, Island Missile, Miss Flamboyance, followed by Zachariah Bow, and the tail ender is Mal Arab coming up to the corner by the 400. Wacken Tanker shot away from them. Wacken Tanker setting sail for the judge in the last by 2.5. Distant Trilogy, the same margin. Glamour Pack from Kit Gum. What About Moses? Wacken Tanker though still with a handy break nearing the 200, about 2 in front of Distant Trilogy. He now has to shake up Wacken Tanker. Distant Trilogy, he's starting to get a sniff of victory. Distant Trilogy comes at Wacken Tanker. Wacken Tanker gathered up by Distant Trilogy. What About Moses charging into third placing, but Distant Trilogy beat Wacken Tanker. What About Moses was third ahead of Island Missile from last Malarab. And then Glamour Pact behind them, Kit Gum, Miss Flamboyant, She's Got Merit, Zachariah Bow, and also towards the tail are Trade Talk. Distant Trilogy has given Brad Rawiller a riding double in the last two. Is only 2 rides for the day. Number 4, Distant Trilogy. A winning double for Brad Rawiller. Just the 2 mounts for the day, and ends it with a 100% winning strike rate. The Casino Prince 7-year-old also hadn't won for a long time, 546 days. I think Brad's got the remedy. Tommy Widdowson prepares. Distant Trilogy beating Wacken Tanker in a race no one wanted to lead, and he got there easily and has really made a great contest of it there, beaten by Distant Trilogy, who did produce a terrific run to Resort Man when first up. 9, What About Moses, Peter Hall in third place. 4th, number 6, Island Missile in front of Glamour Pact. 4:14.9, 6, 1:24.51. The time, one length. Sectional 35.37 there to this last race on the card. Well, it might have been a little while since Tommy Widdowson also has had a winner here at headquarters. We saw earlier on today, Bobby Turrell couldn't remember his last one when Alien from Mars won the first. Let's see how Tommy Widdowson goes as we take you downstairs to Brittany to bring us home. And not a bad day at the office for Brad Rawiller. It's 2 for 2, and good to see Tommy Widdowson back with a victory as well.
Yeah, it was a nice little strike rate for Brad Rawiller when he come for 2 rides, 2 victories. Tom Widdowson is strapping, so we won't keep him long, but what a performance today. What were your discussions with Brad Rawiller pre-race?
Oh, I just told him to try and get a little bit of cover from out there and just let him float down the outside. And he jumped pretty well, so he finished up where he was. What can you do when you got a jock like that on? Let him ride him.
You don't really need to give them too many instructions, do you? He did seem to jump the best of them, and Brad did seem very keen to restrain. Were you just wanting to have that spot of cover?
Oh, yeah, well, he likes chasing him a bit better than that. So, you know, when he's out in front, he's a bit vulnerable and sort of looks at him a bit and waits for him, I think. So.
We'll let you go get him now, but Brad Rawiller happy to show him to the crowd. Well done to you, Tom. Tom Widdowson there bringing in Distant Trilogy as Brad Rawiller. He shows him to the crowd who give him a big cheer. There must be some punters who are up in members because they're very, very happy to see Distant Trilogy come back in. And Lockie, in the end, he found that slipstream of Wacken Tanker, and as Tommy said, he just likes something to chase and have something to run down, and it probably worked out perfectly.
I think most speed maps would have had Distant Trilogy going back originally, but he just jumped so well. He was the first to step of the line, and in the end, Brad Rawiller did a great job. He was 3 deep early. He just continued to press forward, and then when Wacken Tanker just stretched out the field in the middle stages of the race, stepped into his slipstream, and from there, he travelled like the winner all the way up the straight.
Now, I know it might be a little bit of heartbreak for you because you're probably confident at one stage of the race with Wakantanka when he finds the front. Nothing else wants to lead, but he just seemed to do it a little bit strong out in front.
He raced really fierce through the bridle today, so probably something we haven't seen from Wakantanka before, but perhaps maybe just because he was slow out, Brad maybe had to give him a kick out of the gates, and in the end he's over-raced the route. I was really happy to see Brad let him roll from the 600-metre mark. He didn't fight him, and in the end he just found one too good.
He did. It was Distant Trilogy who was had him in his sights a long way from home, and just had to be asked the question by Brad Rawiller, who weighs in now, and in the end he's able to score victory over Wakantanka, and it's the 9 What About Moses in for third. Brad's now with Lockie.
Brad, 2 rides for 2 wins. I suspect he didn't end up, well, you didn't think you'd end up where you were, but he just stepped so clean, and in the end you opted to roll forward.
Yeah, well, it certainly was a surprise. I wouldn't have expected to land where we ended up, but he pinged away at the start, and I thought, oh, well, okay, we'll slot in, and they weren't going to let that happen behind that speed, and then I just sort of tried to keep a rhythm, just not to panic and try and rush anything, and then down the back, when I strode forward and we got in to what I expected to be outside the leader, and when the leader quickened up a bit and I broke up, I thought, beauty, I'll just get to the fence and just get some cover for, a furlong, 300 metres, and coming into straightening, I thought for a chance of making a late dip at the second horse, and to his credit, look, to be honest, I think he was just well placed today. I think the trainer's done the work in getting him in the right race today, and thankfully the horse got the job done.
Wakantanka, as you alluded to, did stretch the field out. Were you always confident in running that he'd be able to run him down?
To be honest, not necessarily just because it wasn't his preferred, he's a chaser. But like I say, when I actually got the drop on the leader, and he just sort of got a rhythm for it, and it was only 300 metres, and I was sort of wanting to build and get to the leaders outside, I was thinking, okay, we're a chance here, but still just being mindful that it was probably out of his normal scenario. So, but he was, from the furlong, I was pretty confident I'd win.
2 rides for 2 wins here in WA, making it look easy. Well done.
No, I appreciate it. Cheers. I haven't ridden a favourite yet, so nice to get a few Saturday winners. And big cheerio to my wife and kids, Cleo and Lucas back home. I know they'll be watching. I know they'll be cheering, and love yous. Cheers.
Big hello to the Rawiller family watching at home. I'm sure they're giving Dad a cheer, and he's riding in such brilliant form as well. And in the end, I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, Lockie, but you have a look, and Distant Trilogy was out of a 66 plus and into this 60 plus, and ran behind Resort Man last start, and we saw him run admirably earlier today.
Well, as you've alluded to, he was 3rd behind Resort Man and Platinum Bullet. Platinum Bullet beat Resort Man by a nose, and if those 2 gallopers were in an event like this, they would have been sub $2. So perhaps in hindsight, it is a wonderful thing. We always say that. Perhaps we should have been on.
Well, that rounds out our coverage. 9 races from Ascot done and dusted on GA Taunton Cup Day. Thanks for your company today. Lockie, on debut, well done.
Thank you, Brittany.
Great to have you here. Scott Embry will be back next week. Have a great evening on Sky Thoroughbred Central.